folks, it's that time of year again. It's back to non-conference time for the Syracuse Orange. And I will tell you what, that was a rough and tumble 4-game stretch for the Orange basketball team. They came out of it with a huge win over Tennessee, but now they got to retain their focus. A lot of the opponents, non-conference opponents, are ones we should beat easily leading up to ACC play. And it starts this week and weekend against St. Joseph's. Of course, St. Joseph's is one of the Philadelphia Six. And that town loves its basketball. The Palestra is considered one of the palaces of basketball. But those Philadelphia players can be pretty tough. St. Joseph's we should be able to beat. But sometimes they can rise up. You know how tough it is to play against Philadelphia teams. Heck, we win against Drexel. We beat them. But now it's St. Joseph's. Now let's see how we do against the Hawks. And on Saturday, the day when supposedly around the time we typically play Georgetown, we aren't playing the Hoyas this year, which is a drag. Instead, we're playing the Flying Dutchman of Hofstra right on Long Island. And you know what? I kind of wonder, how do Dutchmen fly? Of course, one of the greatest quarterbacks of his time, Norm Van Brocklin, was called the Flying Dutchman. Of course, wrong sport. We're talking about basketball. I'll talk about football in a minute. But it's time for Syracuse to keep its focus as we head towards Christmas and as we head towards New Year's when we start ACC play. You know what? It's going to be an interesting finish to the non-conference season for the Orange. Can we keep our focus? We got St. Joe's, we got Hofstra. At least we don't have to talk about bowl season. Of course, a little aside there about Syracuse football. We signed our best recruiting class in about 30 years. And Calvin Russell, after hemming and hawing and maybe going back to the U, which I think he wanted to go to, Russell decided to honor his commitment. You know what? You give your pledge that you're going to play for a football team, you honor that commitment. At least he will. It's going to be an interesting time for Syracuse basketball and, of course, for Syracuse football. And yeah, I kind of hinted about bowl season. My other big story is about the college football playoff. Who thinks it's really flawed? Notre Dame got the shaft. Yeah, you saw what happened with the championship weekend. Georgia thumped Alabama, but yet the college football playoff squad felt that Alabama would deserve to be in the playoffs. But the thing is, you see, the ACC crying about things, they put Miami in there. Notre Dame was pretty much left out in the cold. And you know what? I think they had a right to gripe. And they had a right to say, hey, we aren't going bowling. A lot of people are really starting to look at saying, hey, the Bulls are not getting the whole thing because of this college football playoff. That it's kind of reduced their effectiveness. You know what? I think you get invited to a bowl game, you still ought to honor it. You still got to say thank you. And heck, there's now a few 5 and 7 teams that are saying thank you. Because not only did Notre Dame pass, because Iowa State, Kansas State were in the midst of coaching changes. In fact, Iowa State's coach, Campbell, is the new Penn State coach. And Kansas State's coach retired. And a former Kansas State alum is now the new coach. You know what? Rice and a couple others, thank you. Heck, if Syracuse was 5 and 7, maybe they'd say, hey, you want to go bowling? It kind of shows that, hey, so you got to wonder about things, and do you wonder, are there too many bowls? course, now we got the playoff. And of course, Notre Dame saying, hey, what about us? And I do give kudos to them for thinking about the schools below the Power Four conferences. Yeah, two of them got automatic berths. James Madison, a team that just jumped up to Division One a couple of years ago, but one who always seems to have a pretty good team in basketball or in whatever they do, is part of it. Of course, they've got Oregon to play. And the thing is, thankfully, it's not North Carolina, because we don't want Matt Doherty to run over another cheerleader, do we? And of course, there's the team there from New Orleans, who kind of come off of a Chiffon song, if you know what I mean. Who remembers? He's so fine, Tulane, Tulane, Tulane. We were mine, Tulane, Tulane, Tulane. All right, enough Phil Spector Wall of Sound. Enough Lieber and Stoller talking about, if you know what I mean. Tulane, New Orleans bred football players playing in the college football playoff. The thing is, Tulane's team is about to lose their coach to a bigger school. You know, these little schools kind of want to say, hey, you want to stay? Of course, one team that could have been in there had they beaten James Madison, North Texas. They could have been in there, but they lose their coach to Oklahoma State. You know what? Some of these people say, hey, wait for us, wait for us. Heck, how about Toledo losing its longtime coach to a bigger program? But the thing is, hey, Toledo didn't hold a candle to the other school, if you know what I mean. Of course, I'm not going to quite forget about Buffalo. Yeah, what a big comeback win against Cincinnati. And Joe Burrow and his arrogant stuff seemed like they were going to beat us, especially because we were more giving than the Salvation Army on third downs. We got to clean that up, Babbage. Yeah, or maybe you're probably absent-minded. That's been a problem all year, you numbskull. You come to third down and you start acting like the Three Stooges. Oh, hey, let's look up this play. Yeah, let's give it up. Can't do that, especially when we're in the way heading to the playoffs in the stretch. Heck, we got New England coming up, and that could be for the AFC East title. We got Cleveland, we got Philadelphia, and we got the New York Jets to close out the season. Come on, Buffalo, it's time to put the hammer down. It's time to run the table. It's time to show that Josh Allen and the Bills are a force to be reckoned with. Keep it going, Buffalo. And I do want to throw a couple bits out there first about the It's a Wonderful Life Festival. Yeah, the 79th anniversary of the movie is coming up here this weekend. Get ready. Bob Kernan is the one who's going to be getting the George Bailey Award. Get ready for the It's a Wonderful Parade. And also Carolyn Grimes and the cast members coming here to Seneca Falls. And who can forget the 5K run, which has become one of the biggest 5K runs around the area. But one thing, they won't be starting on the bridge. They'll be starting down by the canal and then making a left turn and then making a right turn up on to Baird Street. Yep, I mean, they thought the bridge is structurally deficient. Why? Did it happen from all the runners? Oh well, it's going to be another great It's a Wonderful Life festival. And last but not least, basketball is definitely now in full swing. And if you want something good, come to a Waterloo game, because I am announcing the starting lineups. I'm putting my dulcet baritone voice to the test. And one thing about one of the fans of the Waterloo players, I will say Peterson is the second reincarnation of a Hakeem Olajuwon Finger Lake style, Phi, Slamma Jamma, Waterloo style. And for one player, heck, all Coach Spezzano was just telling the player what to do was relax, because he was a little frustrated coming off the court. But what about his snowflake mother coming down and berating Coach Spezzano about it? Hey, all he was just doing was telling him to relax. And you know what? You relax. And by the way, don't dress like Elizabeth Taylor. I'm Ken Haas. That's my story, and it's a wonderful life.